I'm Zach Joachim, local sports reporter for the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I've been covering high school sports in the area for a few years now, and specifically yesterday was a big day for high school football. We had the beginning of the early signing period for senior football recruits to make their commitments to college as official. There were signing events at a bunch of different schools around the area happening at different times during the day, and I touched on those in the article that I wrote about, but I went to Highland-Springs specifically because they had 5 kids signing in one place, and 4 of them were headed to Virginia Tech and one of them to Virginia. So there was a really strong local flair. And I think that was kind of the prevailing theme, was that when the UVA and Tech head coaches, Tony Elliott and Brent Pry, came in, they spoke a big game about emphasizing recruiting in the state of Virginia and specifically in Richmond, in the Richmond area. Tech specifically over the years has had really strong ties recruiting in the Richmond area and kind of struggled with that in the last few years in the Justin Fuente era. And Brent Pry, man, has followed through on that promise and then some. Specifically, I think that this was the biggest class that Tech has had in the area in decades. Jason Abbey at Douglas Freeman also signed for Tech. He's a defensive end. And Jeremiah Coney, who is a linebacker and running back at Hermitage, who initially verbally committed to Appalachian State over the summer, he flipped his commitment to Virginia Tech. And so that was definitely the theme of the day, is how many local kids are going to play for Brent Pry in Blacksburg. Springer's coach Lauren Johnson talked about that in his speech beforehand about, hey, one of the most important things that I want to remind you as you begin your college journey is that you're first going there as students and then as athletes, and that the primary purpose that you're going there is to get an education. And I just think that, man, Highland Springs is the top example of programs in the area that are producing kids who are not only top recruits, but who are ready immediately to contribute at the college level. And they transition well to the college level because Lauren Johnson has prepared them in that regard to be students and to emphasize things off the field before on the field. And so I think that definitely speaks to the program that he's built over there. They went 15-0 and won a state championship this year. That's their 6th in program history. It was their 5th in the last 8 years. And it's just a class act of a program.
All right, that's it. Make sure you log on to richmond.com for reporting and stories of Richmond and Central Virginia. And remember to follow along on social at RTD News. We'll see you next week for another A1 Extra presented by Westminster Canterbury.